Deb Hirsch puts it like this: sexuality can be described as the deep desire and longing that drives us beyond ourselves in an attempt to connect with, to understand that which is other than ourselves. Essentially, it is a longing to know and be known by other people. Because our sexuality is about our desire to know and be known, it is intricately woven into our spirituality as well. In fact, you cannot separate one out from the other, because behind the desire of both of them is this desire to transcend ourselves, to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, to use our creative energy to produce something that outlasts us, like a book or a piece of art or a memory in the mind of a loved one or a baby. It's also the desire to experience close relationships with one another and be loved for who we are. So our spirituality is about our desire to overcome our alienation from God, to know God, be known by God, and to be loved by God. And then our sexuality is about our desire to overcome our alienation with one another, to know and be known by one another, and to be loved by one another. Which shows us this, that our definition of sexuality needs to expand. Because this narrow view that we have of sex, which says that I am sexual only if I am engaging in the act of sex or coming to some kind of climax, has led to all kinds of issues with the way that we treat one another and see ourselves. And we need a spot to talk about the ways we've been victimized, the mistakes we've made, and the ways we are seeking to move beyond these things to practice our sexuality in a more life-giving way. I have a complicated past. I do not fit into these storylines. And I assume that most of you do as well. Is our understanding of God and sexuality broad enough to sort of encounter these stories and bring them into line with God's stories, to bring wholeness and healing to our broken parts, as well as celebrate the healthy and whole parts? Now, in order to kind of expand our view of sexuality, I'm going to get up on my soapbox for a little while here. I am single. I've been single for a long time, and I want to be known. But besides that, Jesus, who was the perfect example of what it is to live intimately with others, to experience relationship, to love and give himself in love, to be a perfect human being, he was single. Mic drop, right? Single people play a really important role in the church. We are a witness against the messianic expectations that we tend to put on marriage. You see, marriage isn't meant to sustain all of our needs, all of our expectations. We were meant to live in a web of relationships, whether we're married or single, and we were meant to worship God alone. We remind you that the truth is that God makes his family by adoption, not by birth. And so if we're a part of the when there's distance between what we desire, between us and what we desire, it forces us to figure out, engage in life, and figure out how to narrow the distance, how to come to peace with our unmet expectations. It keeps us moving. It keeps us going outside of ourselves. It keeps driving us out of our comfort zone, and it keeps us moving toward God and his good future. Our driving force as the people of God, whether we are married or single, is to join God in his good work to renew the whole earth. And our sexuality is part of the energy behind this. How do we use our desires, our unmet expectations, our longings to witness to the fact that God is putting everything back together again, including us? Well, Jesus gives us a clue as to how to do this in the way that he lived his life, as do the lovers in the Song of Songs. We bring redemption and renewal by giving ourselves away in love over and over again. even after hurt and disappointment. So marrieds, have you come to your senses? Have you stopped giving yourself with abandon to your spouse? Give the flowers, take the Tylenol, attend to your relationship. Remember the wild love that propelled you into the insanity that is called marriage. Remember your forever friend. And like the lover in the Song of Songs, go after them. Singles, you have a full life to live right now. Stop waiting or looking for some perfect future or some perfect individual to fulfill your desires. Instead, identify the people who know you and love you in your life right now and invest and dig into those relationships. And then look up and out, marrieds too, and start to include other people in those relationships. And if you have a bad habit of tapping out of relationships with people outside of romantic partners, stop it. Figure it out. Find someone to commit to. Find a community. Start to dig in and invest in people.